If you enjoy learning the Cherokee language with RSU TV, join our Signal Society. Your monthly gift of $10 a month ensures that RSU TV can continue to produce programs like the Cherokee language classes. Click the link in the description or call 1-800-823-7210 to join today.
Oceanigod, Wade Blevins, Dawadon, Kalielig, Ahanjiged, Okohig. My name is Wade Blevins, and welcome to Cherokee 2 here on RSU TV. I'm really glad to be here today. Today is Hishkine Jalaki Adela Okoste, the 5th Cherokee lesson. So just as a quick recap, so far we have told a really quick story about Jutli and Jistan, and then we started to add some more details to that story, and we're probably about halfway through that story. So probably in a couple more lessons we'll get the story entirely done and we can hear the whole story all in Cherokee. All right, so come idalena jalagi idiwoni. Okay, so again, one of the things that you will be tasked with doing this class period, or this over the course of this class, is to learn enough Cherokee to introduce yourself, in case you ever need to introduce yourself in a meeting or at an event or a workshop or seminar or something like that. And so we're going to go over some of the vocabulary that you need to know in order to introduce yourself properly. So of course the very first thing that is hello, which is sio or osio. Everyone nigada. So osio nigad. And then my name is, we've already learned this part, Dawadon. So Wade Blevins, Dawadon. And then we've also learned to say how to say I'm Cherokee or I'm not Cherokee, Jijalaki, Jikaduwagi, or Tla, Jijalagi Yigi, right? I'm not Cherokee. We've learned that already. We also learned how to talk about where we are from, Digega, Digega. So for example, for myself, I say Tlaiko, Digega, I'm from J. Of course, you would say wherever it is you're from, unless you happen to be from J, which is Tlaiko. So you could say Claremore, Digega, I'm from Claremore. Or if you want to say it in Cherokee, you would say Galemo, Galemo, Digega. Katusa, Katusi, which is also Holbert, actually. So Kuwayon, Pryor, Tulsi, Tulsa, Gusong, Muskogee, Tahlequah. Tahlequah. So there are, names for all of the communities. If you live here in Northeast Oklahoma, chances are the community where you are from has a name also in Cherokee. And then, of course, there are some places that still retain their Cherokee names. For example, Talala, right? The town of Talala, that's Woodpecker. And so, now we're going to talk about where you live, because not many times where you're from and where you live are not the same place. So whenever you want to say I live somewhere, you say Ginel, Ginel, or Ginela. We look at the syllabary for that, we have the character G, and then we have ne, and then la, Ginela or Ginel. So I could say, for example, Tlaiko Digega, I'm from J. Tlaiko Ginela Squil, I also still live. Sidan, still. Tlaiko Ginel, I still live in J. All right, but you may, for example, say tlaiko digeg, sehno means but, sehno Tulsi Jinel, I live in Tulsa, right? So that's the difference between digega and Jinel. And for our conversational Cherokee, we've learned several. We've learned Dij Sula, wash your hands, Hakskwoja, wash your face, Hiegi, wake up, right? We've learned those so far. Now, this one is go get dressed, okay? And you can say ta na wo zhe. Okay, if we look at the characters, ta na wo zhe. And then you see here, this is another way of saying it that's slightly different. It has this character we in front of it. We ta na wo zhe. Okay, so ta na wo zhe means get dressed. We ta na wo zhe means go get dressed. Okay, kind of indicating that you have to move away from whoever's doing the speaking to get the job done. That's what that wa sound in the front indicates. Remember, we talked about how it's used to indicate a motion away from a speaker, either in distance or in location or in time. It's often used to talk about the past tense because the past tense, of course, occurred at a time that's at a distance from the speaker. So that same little wa sound, it can be used here in this case. So tanawoja, get dressed. We tanawoja, go get dressed. So it's kind of the same, slightly different. Okay, so extra sentences to use the same word for getting dressed. We have DJ, DJ, DJ. De ga na wo ah. Okay, and a lot of times we leave that ah off. So DJ de ga na wo. DJ de ga na wo. DJ means new things that are plural. Okay, EJ is one thing that's new. DJ means more than one thing that's new. Okay, DJ de ga na wo. Okay, I'm putting on new clothes. So notice this is one of the instances where Cherokee is actually shorter than English. Sometimes it's the other way around. But in this case, the Cherokee is shorter. DJ, new. De ga na wo, I'm putting on clothes. So I'm putting on new clothes. DJ de ga na wo. The next one says da na wa iya. Okay, da na wa iya. Da na wa iya. Da na wa iya. And that means they're changing clothes, okay? He is changing clothes or she is changing clothes, and what that indicates is that they have clothes on already and they're going to put different ones on, okay? Da na wa iya, da na wa iya. He's putting different clothes on, okay? Changing clothes. Okay? So the conversational Cherokee that you can use, hopefully you'll use it today, ta na wo zhe, or we ta na wo zhe, go get dressed. All right. So here is the story, the short part of the story about Jutli Ale Jistana. Okay, we're going to just go over it really quickly. It says, Ila hiuchige sa nigada inage anehi eli dantlano heska sawu iga klawo tuhi na amayulti adan sini doha Jistan. na jutli wu wotla. Unalena he dan tlano heska. Jutli gistana utadane. Doyus hisanul gadon ale amai ke hisanul. Udane gistan. Utloi gisanul gadon ale amai. Jutli tla yuo hi yu ne. Untogi yasti. Dunuk tane jutli ale gistan. Okay, so let's kind of go through what this is. So, ilahiyu chikesa, a long time ago, nigada, all inage anehi, wild animals, eli, could, dantlano heska, talk to each other. Sawu iga, one day, klawo tuhi, mud, na'a, near. Okay, amayulti, the bank or the shore of the water. Adansini doha, crawling around. Gistan. So that sentence says one day the crawdad was crawling around in the mud near the shore. Okay, na'a, nearby. Jutli, the fox, wuwotla, was sitting down, or was sitting. Okay? Unlenahe, they started. Dantlano heska, they started talking to each other. Jutli, gistan, utadane. Okay, so the fox asked the crawdad, Doyus hisanul. Okay, are you really as fast? Gadon, on the earth. Ale amai ke hisanul. So that's really saying you're really fast on the earth as you are in the water. So there, he's asking, he's like, are you as fast on the ground as you are when you're in the water? And he says, udane gistan. So the crawdad said, yes. Utloi, I'm the same. Gisanul, I'm the same fast. I'm just as fast, okay? Gadon, on the earth. Ale, amai, and on the water. So I'm just as fast on the ground as I am in the water, okay? Jutli, tlayu wo hihune. He did not believe him, okay? Untoki yasti, okay? Dunuk tane, they decided to race. Jutli, ale gistan, the crawdad and the fox. All right? Then it says, Galkog gadusi, dunuk tane, wuna tlasti, akayi, we got lucha, galkogine gadusi, we diget luha skesti, we diget luha skesti. Okay? Udatlosa gesesti. Gadu galanlat odala wunilosa. Galkog gadusi. Dunisuyesa wunatlasti. All right? So, Galkog, 7. Gadusi, hills. Dunuk tane, they decided, wunatlasti, to run across, okay? Akai, the first, okay? we got lu zha, the first to arrive, okay? The first to arrive, we got lu zha. Galko gine, the seventh Gadusi hill, so the first to arrive at the seventh hill, we dige tlunhuskesti. They're going to shout or they're going to yell, okay? Udatlosa, he's going to win. Gesesti, he's going to be the winner, okay? Gadu on top, Galelat, Odala, okay, on top of a high mountain. Wunilosa, they went to the top of a high mountain. Galkog, 7 Gadusi hills. Dunisuyesa, they chose. Unatlasti, to run across. So they chose 7 hills to run across. Unlena he uskanole ge se gistan jutli ulohisele gistan wajiniya sela jutli ganidata na ulose ganidata wukitla he gistan utlist jutli wutlustana jutli ganidata ukitlon gistan Wunilucha galkwogine kadusi jutli uwe tlune. Gistan na uwe tlune squo. Okay? So says unle nahe when they started. Uskanole ge se gistan. So the crawdad was slow to start. Jutli Ulohisele passed Gistan, so he passed by the crawdad. Okay, Gistan Wajiniya Sela, he grabbed Jutli Ganidata, he grabbed onto the fox's tail. Na ulose, when it passed by him. Okay, Ganidata Wukit lehe. Okay, he crawled up on there, or he straddled it, the tail. He straddled his tail. Gistan, the crawdad did that. All right? So the crawdad straddled the tail. Utlist, quickly, jutli, wutlustana. So he ran as fast as he could. Okay, jutli gani danda ukitlon gistan. So the fox, his tail, he was riding on it. The gistan, the crawdad. So the crawdad kind of like rode around on the fox's tail. Wuni lutza galkogine Kadusi, when he arrived at the 7th hill, Jutli uwetlune, the fox yelled out, okay, Gistan na uwetlune squu. Okay, so the crawdad also, that squu at the end of uwetlune means as well. So he also yelled nearby. Okay? So that gets us caught up to the story. So we're going to continue on with the rest of the story, okay? So this says, Usquanikt uyele se jutli na gistan wulu squil. Okay, Usquanikt. Usquanikt is a really common word. You hear it all the time. It can mean surprise. It can mean miracle. It can mean something interesting, usquanicht, okay, amazing, usquanicht. So that word usquanicht means it's amazing or it's surprising or interesting. Uye le se, that means like he felt or he acted. He acted, I guess, in this uye le se, he acted. Jutli, the fox, so that the fox acted surprised. Na jisten, that crawdad wulucha school had also gotten there. Okay, so the fox was surprised that the crawdad also was there. Okay. The next one says, Jutli utadane na jisten siwu inatokia. Okay, Jutli, we should know that word by now. That's fox, right? Utadane, asked. Na jisten, he asked the crawdad. Sigu, again, inatokia. So let's race. Inatokia, let's race. So let's race again. Jutli utadane na jisten sigu inatokia. Okay, the next one says unak tahse untokiastana odala junlena he. Okay, unak tahse means they turned around. Unak tahse untokiastana, they raced. Odala, the mountain, Junlenahe, where they started from. Okay, we've seen that word Unlenahe, Junlenahe, that they started from. Okay, so Unaktahase, okay, Unaktahase, they turned around. Wuntoki Ashtana, and they raced. Odala, to the mountain, Junlenahe, that they started from. So let's read it a little bit faster. Unaktahase, wuntoki astana, odala junlenahe. So they spun around and raced back to the mountain where they had started. Okay, so this one says ayetli tla antoki aska jutli utlis uktahase. Okay, so ayetli means half. Okay, ayetli. Tla in this case means somewhere. Okay, so this ayetli tla can mean like somewhere in the middle, antogiaska of their race, somewhere in the middle of their race. Jutli, utlist, uktahase. The fox, utlist, we learned that, means quickly, uktahase, turned around. So he turned quickly, he made a fast turn. Jutli, utlis, uktahase, right, that's dead, but uktahase. So he turned quickly. Na jistan hale wulose no wu stayosa wajiniya sele jutli ganidata. So based on the words that you already know in here, and based on the picture, can you anticipate what you think is going to happen in this sentence. So, na jisten, okay? Of course, that's the crawdad. Hale, almost. Hale means almost. Hale. Okay, now we have this word right here, and if you'll notice, the way I have it written is kind of weird. So if you take the question mark out, that's not a typo. I put it there deliberately, mainly to remind myself, because I am a learner as well, but to remind myself that this is not the word wulose. Wulose. Okay, we've learned that word before. Wulose means he went, right? Wulose. But this is wulose. Wulose. Okay, slightly different. Wulose. Okay, and that means fell. Okay, wulose means went. Wulose means fell. Okay, so you can, some people say wulose. Okay, he fell. So the pronunciation is slightly different. Whenever you're talking about went, you kind of rise up at the end of the word wulose. Okay, he went. And then fell, just as the word sounds, you're going to kind of fall off the end of the word. Wulose. Okay, wulose. Okay, or wulosa. So, na jisten hale wulosa, no stayosa, wajini yesele jutli gani da. So, the rest of that, na jisten hale wulose, wulose. He almost fell. No wu. Now is normally how this is, we'll translate it word by word and then we'll go back and kind of make sense of it. Okay, so no can mean now. Stayosa, stayosa. We've learned the word sty. Sty can mean hard, it can mean firm, it can mean loud. Sty can also mean loud. Okay, that stayosa means like a firm, or harder. Wajiniya sele, he grabbed it. Jutli ganida. So we have the word now, and hard, and grab, and fox, and tail. So can you yourself kind of make sense of what's going on? So to put that into English that makes that might make a little more sense to most people, is it says, so he grabbed on to the fox's tail harder. Okay, so he took a firmer grip on the fox's tail. Okay, na jisten hale wulotse, no wu stayosa wajiniya sele jutli gani da. Okay, so that's what that sentence refers to. So let's go back through. I'll just go back and we'll read back through them and we'll see if you can understand. So usquanikt uyele se jutli na jisten wulujesku. Okay, so the fox acted surprised that the crawdad had arrived. That the crawdad had also gotten there. Okay. Jutli utadane na jisten siwu in tokia. Okay. So the fox asked the crawdad, let's race again. Unaktahase, they turned around. Untokiostana, they raced. Odala junlena he, back to the mountain where they had started from. Okay? Junlena he, started. Ayetli tla antokioska, jutli utlist uktahase. So somewhere halfway through the race, the fox quickly turned. Okay? Na jisten hale ulotse no wu stayosa wajinia sele jutli gani data. Okay? The crawdad almost fell, so he took a firmer grip on the fox's tail. Okay, here's the whole thing, or here's the part that we know so far. Okay, so just see if you can, I'm going to read it a couple times through, and then we're going to read it in Syllabary, because that helps. It helps myself with my my reading comprehension and my reading fluency, and it will help you as well. The more times we are exposed to the Syllabary, the easier it's going to be for us to understand it. Okay? But let's read it for comprehension first. So we'll read it in phonetics. Okay? So it says, Usquanikt uyelese jutli na jisten wulu jasqu jutli utadane na jisten siwu inatokia unaktahse wuntokia stana odala junlena he ayetli tla antokioska jutli utlist uktahse na jisten hale wulotse no wu stayosa wajinia sele jutli gani data. Okay, were you able to read along with me, hopefully? Let's do it one more time, and we'll do it slow, and try to read it as I am reading it, okay? So we'll go super, super slow so that you can follow along. You can follow with your finger, or you can say it out loud, but this will help you, okay? Ready? Idalena. Usquanikt uyelese jutli na jisten wulu jasqu jutli utadane na jisten sigu inatokia unaktahse wuntokia stana odala junlena he ayetli tla antokioska jutli utlist uktahse na jisten hale wulotse no wu stayosa wajinia sele jutli gani data. Excellent. All right, let's read it a little bit faster. Okay. Usquanit uyela se jutli na jisten wulu jasqu jutli utadane na jisten siwu inatokia. Unakta huse, untogi yas tana o dala junena he. A ye tli tlen antogi yaska ju tli utlist uta huse. Na jisten hale wulose, no wu stayosa wajinia sele ju tli ganidata. All right. So, now, let's look at it in syllabary, okay? So much more difficult to look at it in syllabary, but let's take it one character at a time. But before we do that, just kind of look through there. I want you to look through the syllabary and see if there are any words that you can recognize. See if you can recognize by sight the word jutli. That's a fairly easy word. How about na? Okay. What about g-stun? Can you find g-stun? Maybe you recognize ganidata. Ganidata. Maybe you can recognize that word. Okay. So just take a couple seconds and just kind of scan through and see if there are words in there that you can already recognize. I know it seems very daunting when you are confronted with a big chunk of an unfamiliar language, not only an unfamiliar language, but also an unfamiliar writing system. But if you just kind of go through and you take it one small bit of it at a time, it becomes much more easy to accomplish, okay? You just have to take it just a little bit at a time. So we're going to read through this a couple of times. I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I'm getting older and my eyes aren't what they used to be. But we'll read it through a couple of times using the syllabary. We'll go and we'll take it sound by sound, and then we'll kind of figure out. This, I guess, is kind of reading in Cherokee hooked on phonics style. So we'll kind of slog our way through it together, okay? So, got my glasses on. So let's take the syllabary. So, this says u squaw ni go da. Okay, u squaw ni go da. Okay, but we pronounce it because we already know part of the story. So this word is surprised. Okay, so u squanikt, u squanikt, u squanikt. Okay, so that's how you write it. And this is how you say it, u squanikt. Okay, the next one, u ye le se. U ye le se, u ye le se. That one's fairly easy. Next one, ju cli, ju cli. Okay, next, na. And this is G stun na, G stun na, or G stun. Okay, where I come from, we just call it G stun, but other people say it ganehi. They lengthen it out, G stun na. Okay, wu lu jun s ku. Wulu ja squu, wulu ja squu. Okay. Ju cli. Now here's an interesting word. Might be hard for you to read until you've done it. I know whenever I was first learning to read, I knew all my characters, but I hadn't really read a whole lot in Cherokee. And words like this would really, really stump me. But luckily, I had a lot of speakers who could read in Cherokee, and they would help me. So literally, when we look at this, this is oo, and then we have a character twice in a row. This is duh, duh, ne, okay? So when I would read it, when I was first starting, I would say oo, duh, duh, ne. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. But if we take that first one and we make a t sound out of it, utadane, utadane, asked. Okay, utadane. Next, na. Then we have g, s, d, na, g, s, d, na. Si, gu, si, gu. Some people say si, wu, si, gu. I, na, this is do, but in this case we know it's to, I, na, to, ki, ya, I, na, to, ki, ya. U, na, oh, ka, u, na, ka, ta, se, okay? So see, here's an example of having to sound my way through it. U, na, ka, ta, se. U, nak, ta, se. They turned around. U, nak, ta, se. Wu, na, to, gi, ya, sta, na. Wun, to, gi, ya, sta, na. Raced. O, da, la. O, da, la. Ju, na, le, na, he. Jun, le, na, he. Where they started. Okay. A, ye, kli. A, ye, kli. Kl. A, na, to, gi, ya, ska. An, to, gi, ya, ska. Halfway through the race. Ju, kli. U, klisti. Utlist. U, ka, ta, se. Okay. Uk, ta, se. Uk, ta, se. He turned. Okay. Na, ji, na. Na, ji, stun. Whoops. Okay. Hale, hale. Almost. Wu, lo, se. Wu, lo, se. Okay. Fell. No, wu. Okay. And then, or now, stayosa, stayosa. Harder. Wa, ji, ni, ya, se, le. Wa, ji, ni, ya, se, le. Grabbed. Ju, kli. Fox. Ga, ni, dot, da, tail. Okay, so we slogged our way through it, just little by little. Now let's see if maybe I can read it a little bit faster. I'm still not going to read it super fast. Go ahead and try to follow where the sounds are in the writing, okay? So you can either say it with me if you feel confident, or you can just follow with your fingers. Sometimes that's a little bit easier, okay? Okay, so it says, U squanict, u yele se, ju kli, na ji stun, wu lu ja squu, ju kli, u te dun na ji stun, si gu, ina to gi ya, u nak ta se, Wun toki yas tana o dala Jun le na he A ye tli tla An toki yaska Ju tli U tlist Uk taha se Na ji stun Ha le Wu lo se No wu stayosa wajiniya se le ju tli gani data All right, so we just have a few minutes left. Let's read it through at a more conversational pace, and then we'll look at the page of notes. For those of you that like to take notes, we'll look at that page, okay? So it says, Usquanict uyelese jutli na jisten uluchesqua. Jutli utadane na jisten sigu inatokia. Unatahese Wuntogi yastana odala junlena he. Ayetli tla antogi yaska. Jutli utlis uktahase. Na jisten hale wulose. No wu stayosa wajiniya se le jutli ganitata. All right? So now we kind of know what this paragraph is talking about. Okay? So we're not going to, I don't know that we have time to tell the whole story. Well, maybe we do. Let's see how much time. Ila hujagesa nigada inage anehi eli dantlanoheska. Sawu iga klawo tuhi na amayulti adansini doha. Jisten na jutli wuwotla unlena hedan plano heska jutli jisten utadane doyus hisanul gadon le amai ke hisanul utane jisten utloyi jisanul gadon le amai jutli kla yuehiyune untogiasti dunuk tane jutli ale jistan. Galko gadusi dunuk tane wuna tlusti. Agayi we got lucha galko gine gadusi we digetla huskesti udatlosa gesesti. Gadu galela di odala wunilosa galkogi gadusi dunisuyesa wuna tlusti. Okay. Unlena he uskanole gese jisten jutli ulohisele jisten. Jisten wajiniya sela jutli ganidata na ulose. Ganidata wukila he jisten. Utlis jutli wutlustana. Jutli ganidata ukilon jisten. Wuniluta. Galko gine gadusi jutli uwetlune. Jisten na uwetlune squil. Then the new one, it says, Usquanict uyela se jutli na jisten uluche squil. Jutli utadane na jisten siwu inatokia. Unaktahase wuntoki yastana odala junlena he. Ayetli tla antoki yaska jutli utlist uktahase na jisten hale wulose. No wu stayosa wajiniya sele jutli ganidada. All right. So here are our notes. You can pause. If you're watching this, you can put this on pause. You can write these down. These are all words that we used from our story, okay? So, usquanict, unatokia, unaktahase, junlenahe, tla, hale, wulose, and stayosa, all right? So that does it for today's class. Hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the story. And until next time, wadon.